G'day there, everybody. Happy Monday once again to each and every one of you. And, well, I say happy Monday, but let's all be honest with ourselves here. It ain't exactly the happiest of Mondays for one reason and one reason only. The Battlefield 6 open beta has officially shut down. And, well, that's it. There's no more Battlefield 6 now, at least officially, until October 10. And I'll be honest with you guys, that's a long time to wait. I am absolutely dreading the withdrawals that I think I'm going to feel in the lead up to the launch of this game here. But despite that, guys, I'm also incredibly thankful for the Battlefield 6 open beta as well. Because, let's be honest, on one hand, I might have just broken a personal record for, the most amount of time I've ever clocked in an open beta test. But on the other hand, and by the same token, and also what is the underpinning of this entire video, Battlefield 6's open beta has done something that no other first-person shooter has done for the past couple of years, and no other Battlefield game has done for probably 8 or so years now. It's given me hope. Look guys, I won't sit here and say the game is perfect. It has its problems, and there's certainly some teething issues that I think we would have all liked to have seen fixed before the second weekend of the beta. I'll tell you, the next time I see that shotgun will be too soon. Let's just make that abundantly clear. But despite the teething problems and despite the issues that we did have to go through, I actually believe this is the strongest foundation that we've had for a Battlefield game in years. And it's probably the most excited I've actually felt for an FPS game since I started covering BattleBit Remastered. Battlefield 6 has literally given me hope that there is an FPS game coming out that I may, just may, be able to sink a ungodly and autistic amount of hours into and still have an insane amount of fun with it in the long term. The foundation that is there right now is a perfect mix of, a skill curve to climb, but also a game that just embraces the back of the box stupid moments. It embraces the sandbox nature of a Battlefield game. It embraces the chaotic moments that make the previous Battlefield games just that little bit goofy, but still grounded enough to feel like a Battlefield game. And a foundation like this, with the resources that are behind Battlefield Studios and DICE more specifically, if they can deliver on this for the long term, then again, this is easily the most hopeful I've ever been for a first-person shooter game. The fact that I dropped 50 plus hours into the open beta build on my own Steam account, and then dropped close to another 10 hours in LA, while still being here, left hankering for more, that's a great sign. This wasn't just, 50 hours over the course of 2 months. This was 50 hours over the course of 2 weekends. Like, that is an ungodly amount of game time. And to be in that kind of position where I'm constantly coming back for more after we got a game like Battlefield 2042, it's a relief. It's actually an incredibly nice feeling. As someone who has been incredibly skeptical of the first-person shooter genre as of late, it's nice to look at a game and go, oh my god, we might actually be in an incredibly positive position right now. And to draw the curtains back a little bit further on that for you guys and actually offer a bit more transparency, I've talked about this a bit on my live stream as of late, but not here on the YouTube channel. I actually went into Battlefield Labs playtesting back in February of this year and held a very unique opportunity to give DICE some very direct feedback. For context, I, alongside a few creators in the OCE region, were the very first in the OCE region at all to play the game ever, and we had an opportunity to speak directly to David Serland on a video call after our play session and offer some very direct feedback. The game had a very good foundation back then as well, but we also had some very frank and fearless advice and feedback to give to DICE. One of the key things that we did want to bring up was that there was a distinct lack of bloom in the weapon gunplay in that build back then. We made that a very clear part of our feedback in saying that, it felt like there was a lack of skill curve to climb with a lack of bloom in the weapon design. And fast forward to the beta build that we all just played, and yes, there's weapon bloom in the game now. And just to be clear, I'm not saying that to take credit. What I'm saying there is that we were providing frank and fearless and brutal advice back to DICE in a very privileged communication line, and they were willing to listen. They were willing to improve on it, and evidently, they were actually willing to action that direct advice and that direct feedback we were giving them. Ever since that playtest in February, guys, the one that I've not been able to talk about for the longest time now, I have been so bloody skeptical and cautious of this game after what happened with 2042. You know, I played it in February, I thought it was a great start, but in the back of my mind, I was sitting there thinking, they could still fuck this up, they could still fuck this up, don't get too excited, Cam. I went into the LA event that, you know, obviously went to 2 weeks ago with my shoulders against my ears, clenching the whole way across on the flight. I was praying that DICE didn't fuck this up and that we had a good Battlefield game to get our hands on, that the foundation we played back in February had only gotten better. And well, folks, when the chips were on the table, I came away smiling. It's rare these days for me to spend 50 plus hours in such a short time frame in a first-person shooter game and to come away with very little to complain about. That has happened all here as well, and once again, I'm sitting here hankering for more, and I can't get it right now. And look, as I said, guys, all of the concerns I raised in my last video, the video where I talked about, ironically, my concerns about the game, still stand, and many appear to be in DICE's crosshairs based on some of the tweets we've been seeing from the developers. The size of the maps, I can also understand where people are coming from, and I can understand the concerns the community have around that as well. I've actually decided to separate that into a different video because you and I have been having a really good conversation across multiple, you know, post threads and comment sections about these maps to the point where I do think it deserves a separate video on its own. And of course, you know, the open weapon versus closed weapon debate, that's something I want to address in a near future video as well. But despite all of that, folks, and despite all of the complaints I have, we are ultimately in such a better position now for the Battlefield franchise that I actually do have some hope again. I have some hope that the franchise that I have loved dearly and the franchise that I built a gaming PC for the first time all the way back in the early 2010s is starting to show signs of life again. It's starting to show signs that maybe, just maybe, after what has been an incredibly rough run for the first-person shooter spaces of late, we might have something to be excited for again. And while I understand that a lot of you guys have also been quite reserved in your position around this game so far, I do also see a lot of excitement from you guys too. You know, it's reserved excitement, which is totally fair, but I see excitement. I see people just with a glimmer in their eyes going, maybe we are back. And as somebody who got into gaming content creation as a means to share a passion and to build a community around a shared passion, the fact that we may have a game that, you know, lives up to our standards and lives up to our level of passion once again in the first-person shooter space, that's a joy to see, and it's also going to be a joy to experience if it follows through. And with that, I'm actually really hoping that we as a community have a lot to celebrate come October. And I'll be honest, if we get to October and it doesn't live up to the hype and it doesn't live up to the expectations that we're building here, it's going to be soul-crushing. I'll be honest, guys, it's going to be a kick to the bloody gut. But I can't help but feel just that little bit excited. After 50 plus hours of me grinning ear to ear, I catch myself really hopeful once again. And in a way, I hope you guys are as well, to a degree that you feel comfortable in believing in the Battlefield franchise again. If you feel like you got to wait till launch and see those day one reviews as well, I totally get it as well. Leave a comment down below, folks. How are you feeling about the Battlefield franchise? Are you excited? Are you still reserved? Or is this a big old nothing burger to you and have you been burned too badly? I'm actually really keen to hear your thoughts regardless in the comment section down below, guys. If you enjoyed the video and the slight ramble that we had on today, then also feel free to backhand the like button. As I said earlier, we've got a video coming up about the maps in the game so far, as well as the open versus closed weapon talk, and we're going to have a bit of a chat about both those things. But I've also got an extremely funny video coming your way with the Battlefield 6 shotgun and how it was in the beta. Spoiler alert, it's not going to be a video that you think it's going to be. Let's just leave it at that. But until I see you guys over in those videos, peace out, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.